guys, it's Glenn from glenscarcollection.com, and we are driving a C7 Z06 convertible with a manual transmission. I've never driven a C7 Z06 in auto or stick. So DCH Acura had a stick. I'm like, I'm there, I'm driving it. Well, we've done quite a few reviews of C7s, manual C7s and automatic C7s, but I've never actually had the pleasure of driving the Z06, so I'm excited to share this with you. All right, so we're in second gear right now. It's a very cold day, so there wasn't too much. It was difficult to get this car out of the lot for the reason that these tires are sticky tires. They are not made for this cold winter weather. Luckily, there's no salt on the ground, so we could drive this car. I like this car, and yeah, I think it's awesome, and I love seeing the hood here and the fenders and the raised hood. It kind of reminds me of my E90 M3, but on steroids. This is about 3 times as big here. The roads aren't as smooth, but this ride is actually very good. I'm impressed so far. Just a ton of torque under your right foot. Now, I heard these cars could be a little sketchy, the Z06, so we're gonna see if that is true. All right, I don't know if this guy's planning to go straight here. He hasn't given any signal. That's the problem about driving cars you've never driven before, is sketchy other drivers. Now, let's see what modes we can do here. Instant fuel economy. Well, we don't want to be, there we go. We want to do in sport. So we're going to drive in sport. We were in economy, so I don't think we were getting the full boat here. Traction control is off. Traction control should be off. Or is it telling us we have a low tire? All right. Whoa. Oh, it's sketchy, all right. All right, so we gotta go a little easy then. It's telling me, oh, you know, it's just too cold for this car. This car has so much power, it just overwhelms the rear tire. So we're gonna take it on some S-turns here. We're not gonna go crazy because it's cold. It's not my car. It's for sale today at DCH Acura in DCH Montclair Acura in Verona, New Jersey. They always have about 80 Highline cars, what I'll call Glen cars, exotics, stick shifts, 911s, Corvettes. They have a ton of C7 Corvettes, and they usually always have a C8 Corvette too. So I'll feed the gas in here. Handling is sketchy because we're probably on, you know, Cup 2s or something. I'll check when we get to our destination. We don't want to ruin a car that's not ours. This is a great time, honestly, I think, to buy a Z06 and stick. They've held their value. We know, you know, who knows? There could be a C9 years from now Corvette that has a stick. They bring it back, like Porsche brought the stick back with the GT3. But we know the C8 with that carbon fiber drive shaft can't have a manual transmission. So I think you could buy this car and drive this car for free for at least 5 years. And I think now's the time to buy, even though they have gone up, because when the new Z06 comes out, people say it's awesome, but then some subset of the people will be like, yeah, it's not a manual. I'm gonna go out and buy either a ZR1 manual, which is really in the stratosphere right now, about 150 grand. You could still get these for under 100. And this car only has like less than 4,000 miles. We're gonna hit 4,000 miles on this drive. That's how amazing and good shape this car is in. All right, so we'll make a turn up here. We're gonna take it through another twisty or two, and then we'll take a look at the outside. And remember, this is the convertible version, no less. How many convertible stick shift Z06s were made? I would assume that most of the convertibles are automatic. I just have so much power under my right foot. Now, unlike my cars, like the R8 with the all-wheel drive and the 911, even though it's rear drive, gets all those horsepower to the ground. This has a, you know, ton of horsepower and it overwhelms the rear wheels pretty quickly. I'd love to drive this on a 70-degree summer day, and I'm sure we'll get a lot more horsepower to the ground, but here in the middle of the winter, when it's really cold out, it's just not gonna happen. But the handling is really good. You know, they're more sports cars than muscle cars, but the Z06 gives you kind of like that muscle car flavor where it is just, it's just an animal, you know? It does handle great for a skilled driver. It's definitely way more civilized than a Viper. I think if you're a super skilled driver, like pro level, you'll get a better lap time out of your Viper, but I would say 9 out of 10 people will be faster in the Corvette. All right, so we'll pull over here, we'll look at the car more closely, and then we'll drive back and take those twisty roads again. All right, here we are in the 2017 Z06. Now this is a 3LZ package, so you get the nicer interior, you get the Z06 badge here. Remember, it's a supercharged V8. Now these are steel brakes, but you got huge brakes, they're slotted rotors, very sticky tires, so they're not actually cooperating in today with the cold weather. I think it looks absolutely gorgeous in yellow. I like the C8 Corvette in yellow too. This car is a beast compared to the C8 Corvette. Now it's pretty quiet. If we weren't back here with these 4 exhaust pipes here, I could feel the heat from this on this cold day. And it sounds really good back here, right? But as we walk away, it's a pretty mild-mannered, quiet car. There's different modes, you know, track mode you can get into and everything like that to make a more visceral experience. But this is a sharp looking car. And not only, as I told you before, that this is a manual transmission, it's also a convertible. So you get this, the 3LZ gives you the upgraded interior, the leather dash, which you don't get on the regular Corvettes. Better seats that hold you in place. That was always a common complaint with Corvettes. You got this lovely, and I don't use the word lovely loosely, flat bottom steering wheel. Everything is good here. This steering was grown on me. I didn't like it right away. And this is a stick. How many convertibles came with stick, right? All right, so now we're back inside the car. What I didn't hit before, I actually hit traction control off button. So here I press this button. I thought it was low tire, traction control off, obviously TC traction control. I don't know if you could see the heads up display, but it's really cool. All right, so we're gonna put traction control on because we're not stupid. And then this is how we release the parking brake. So it is actually down. So think of it as a manual brake where you put up to set it and down to release it. All right, we don't have to worry about any flappy paddles. They actually have rev matching. So I think we had rev matching on. Maybe we'll keep it on because obviously somebody's going to buy this car. Remember, supercharged V8, 650 horsepower, 650 foot-pounds of torque. Even more important, we put it into reverse. We have it's a 2017, so we have a very good backup camera. This will turn on our radio here. This can make the screen down. You know, like, oh look, so we actually have a couple different modes here with the screen. This is your parking camera that shows you your bumpers. That's pretty cool. Your mirror controls are here. All your buttons are on the steering wheel here if you want to go through the menus or make a phone call. Cruise control button. Mirrors were on the side here that we went through. Window switches, lock and unlock. So you actually hit the unlock button and then you press this down here and that'll open the door. You press it, wait a second, and you'll hear it go. All right, so let's go. We'll head back to the dealership. We'll hit those twisties. The clutch is actually fine, very livable. This car is a beast though, let me tell you. There's beasts and there's this. It's scary. I could see why people would crash these cars. So that's why we had a little oversteer because we had the traction control off. So never, ever, ever take the traction control off. Even me, who's reviewed 900 cars, let me straighten this out. I've reviewed 900 cars for this channel. Even I make a mistake once in a while. All right, so we got a nice heads-up display. I'm looking down too much. I like to look forward, have high eyes from the racetrack, not low eyes. So this heads-up display is good if you have low eyes. It's not so good if you actually, you know, have done a lot of track like me and your eyes are always pointed up. I'm looking at that red light already, and I'd have to look down like this to see the heads-up display. All right, so we're in second. Let's just go out for third. Let's see what happens when we downshift. Actually, all right, so we're gonna go into rev match. I don't think we were in it. We're gonna make a right here, turn our signal on. The clutch, I have a big size 13 foot, so the clutch feels very close to the brake to me. So I almost feel like I'm hitting both here. All right, so now we could do a little accel when we get up to the twisties here. Still with a 650 horsepower and more importantly, 650 foot-pounds of torque. On a cold day, you're gonna overwhelm the tires. So you always wanna feed the gas, not stop on the gas. That's a good way to crash. All right, so we got this. You know, I bought a thing for sun glare here, and I don't know, somehow I lost it on the way to the shoot. Probably in my house somewhere. All right, so let's see. Wow, the brakes really stop you, and they're not even ceramic, they're steel brakes. And I'll compare at the end, when we get through these turns, because I've reviewed a lot of C7s and a lot of C8s, and I'll kind of tell you the differences in a second. Wow. You know, it's so cold, I'm not going to do more than that, but this car is astonishingly fast. And the handling is unbelievable, too. Now, the better driver you are, the better I think you'll enjoy this car. It could be a handful. Now, how many sticks do they make a convertible? I bet you not many. I wouldn't mind buying the convertible because I really don't see a difference in the handling right here. And usually you do. Even when I drove the convertible R8, it didn't handle as sharp as the coupes did. And I would say this is a real sharp handling car. I wouldn't necessarily call it nimble, but it's a good handling, a lot of grip, a lot of mechanical grip, where I feel like I'm doing the work, not the car's doing it for me. You drive a lot of high-end European cars, you have all that electronic grip, and you're kind of just there for the ride to steer. Here I feel like I have to do something. If I had to chase down a 911, I think I could do it, but it would take a lot of skill to do that. Now, of course, you're always going to be behind a Corolla when you're driving a 650 horsepower car. That's just par for the course. Oh my God, all right, so he's finally getting out. Wow, you don't have to go that slow to turn, brother. I love the car in yellow. I just like bright colors. And there used to be a book back in the day, before my time, called All Corvettes Are Red. And I disagree. I like blue, yellow. All right, now the suspension is a little stiff, but we have different modes. We can go into more of a touring mode here. So that's track mode, which we're not going to do because it's not our car. So we're going to sit on tour. So that'll give us a softer ride now. Interior is very comfortable. Is the what do they call it? 3LZ, is that really needed? You got some nice leather here, but it's not like Porsche full leather, but it is very nice. Is it worth that extra $7 grand or whatever they charge for the 3LZ? No, it's not. But if I was buying a used one, I don't think you're going to pay much more because of the 3LZ. So I would definitely pay up for a used car because you're getting it at a discount. You're not paying full boat for it. All right, let's see. The clutch has to be the clutch is fine and it handles the torque no problem. So fast, I just feel like I have so much power under my right foot. I had a choice of driving a lot of amazing cars today, including some 992s. I don't know, I reviewed a 992 Turbo for you guys, but I've driven the 992 4S on the track, and I've test driven an S. But you know what? Honestly, even though I would say I'm a Porsche guy, I was originally a Corvette guy, and I just grabbed at the chance. I figure this, how many Z06s in stick are there, especially convertible, even though this is winter. So let's go drive it. All right, so this was an amazing car. It was so much fun. Couldn't really do too much acceleration just because it has very sticky tires, and they don't stick today because of the cold winter weather. But it was a joy to drive this car. I think this car will hold its value for a long time until Corvette brings back a stick, maybe with the C9, but most likely they're never going to because they're having no problem selling C8s and they're all dual clutches, right? So I think you buy one of these cars and your depreciation will be minimal. And I think you will just have an absolute blast with this car. All right, guys, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Special thanks to DCH Montclair Acura for allowing me to drive this beast. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Now, if you want to buy these cars and you need money, I would go to this astrologist, because this astrologist right here always has a Porsche GT3 or Ferrari outside, so they must be pretty accurate with their predictions to afford those cars.